Oliver, thanks very much for joining us here at MIPIM.
My pleasure.
Just give me an update on the strategy for Resolution, and I suppose picking up on some of the trends that you're seeing in the market at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. So Resolution traditionally has been an investor and developer of creative, interesting office space in the UK and across Europe. However, as a landlord, there are obvious challenges to doing so at the moment, not least the changing requirements of occupiers in the current market as the competitive landscape changes in relation to the service office provision and much improved service office provision, and the opportunity for occupiers to look at a market where they have ready-baked, easy access offices on the one side versus the traditional fixed lease on the other side, where they have to move in and do up their own space, provide their own furniture, have a fixed term lease of say a minimum of 3 years, where they have to have dilapidations claims and everything else that goes with it. So the environment is a challenging environment at the moment.
And in terms of that, obviously the co-working serviced office area is a very big trend at the moment in terms of the market. How do you see that as an investor? Do you see that as a challenge to you, as an opportunity? What's your perspective on it?
Well, I think the first thing is that service office has been around for a very long time, right? So Regis has been in the market for longer than I've been in the market. WeWork has done a great deal to changing the perception of the serviced office sector, particularly in relation to the usage of data and then the marketing drive that they do. And I think that they have created a challenge and an opportunity for us as traditional landlords to say, well, how can we do things better? And how can we make sure that our product is relevant for occupiers today? Now, the challenge with that for us is, as investors in real estate, we have to make a return on our investment. We have to be able to sell the real estate that we are buying and developing and creating, and we also have to finance it. And I think in order for the market to really flourish, the traditional landlords have got to move from being just landlords of fixed term leases or leasing out to service office providers to actually being manager and operator of their real estate, a bit like in a hotel or outlet centres, where the relationship between the tenant and the landlord evolves. And then I think the market really will start to change. However, in order to do that, I think there needs to be a wholesale shift in the mentality of pretty much the whole real estate community, in terms of the buyers of real estate and also the financiers of real estate, and I think most importantly is the valuers of real estate. So if I'm an institutional investor in real estate and I want to buy an office building from Resolution, and Resolution has taken the modern path of saying, well, we'll take our office and say we are going to be the serviced office provider, but effectively remove that middleman and just go straight to market, then the real estate community has to be able to value that properly and say, okay, so we don't have a weighted average lease length, we don't have fixed term, we don't have all these traditional things and by which basis we valued real estate. So how are we going to value it now? And the value isn't any less, it's just different.
If you're looking at that sort of co-working space, would you see that as something that is a sort of percentage of the available space, which then helps you with maybe longer leases elsewhere, or how do you see that? How do you see that working best for you?
I think that's a good question. So I think there will obviously always be demand for large-scale office space on a traditional basis, where someone wants to have a fixed term, say 10-year lease, and they want that certainty of tenure, and they want to take a whole building, or whatever case that may be. However, there is obviously a whole segment of the market where if you're a small business, you might not want to have to enter into a fixed term. You don't want to have all the hassle of all the other things that comes contractually with having a lease. And you just want to know that, can I move into an office in a set period of time? Has it got availability? Has it got furniture? Can I just get in, get my 10, 15, 30 people into that space as quickly as possible and not have to worry about all the other stuff? And I think there's a responsibility on us as landlords to look at the market and look at the way it's changing and the demand and say, fine, we can accommodate you. And I think that is going to become the norm. I think it's become increasingly common for a large segment of someone's building, particularly for buildings where you have smaller floor plates, to say, we will provide a fully baked product for you, fully furnished, fully carved out, ready for you to move in, whether it's 300, 1,000, 3,000, 4,000 square foot. I think once you start getting to the larger floor plates, then I think still the traditional market will prevail.
And in terms of the general outlook that you're seeing in the sector, are you positive about that? Do you see it being kind of steady as she goes? What's your view?
So I look at most of the UK. I think Brexit is clearly an issue for all of us. I think it will present some challenges for the whole market, whether in real estate or the broader economy over the next 2 to 3 years. However, I'm a great believer in the UK, and I think irrespective of whether or not we remain in Europe in whatever form we might remain in or come out completely, I think longer term UK will always be a place where people want to do business. I think it will always maintain its position in the global economic scale, and I think we'll be okay. So I think we have to adjust ourselves maybe in terms of expectation a little bit over the next 2 years, but I think if you're looking at a longer term outlook, I think we're okay.
Great. Well, thanks very much for sharing your views with us today, Oliver.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for having me.